I spend my life researching and teaching people how to live a powerful life. I am a believer. I stand for the transformation of humanity. I have found my purpose. My name is Gabrielle McGee, and I am the Rebellious Therapist. Welcome to the next edition of the Rebellious Therapist podcast. And my guest today is a gentleman called Derek Delaney. Now, I know Derek for the last probably 6 years because he is the guy who I trained with to be a hypnotherapist. So really welcome, Derek. Really lovely to have you here, and lovely to have this conversation, because I know this conversation will be of massive value for people who wants to really understand the mind. And what I know about you, Derek, is you have master of that. So I want to welcome you, number one. And number two, I also want to just say a little bit about who you are to the listeners. So you've been, doing this job you've been a therapist for the last 11 years. And you've also taught a lot of people through Ireland and who can set up clinics and be hypnotherapists and work with people. So I want you to sort of like give a little bit about your background, where you came from, why you've chosen this career, and just about what your passion about, what your passion is in life, and where you work from, basically.
Okay, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me, Gabrielle. It's great to have a wee chat, I have to say. As you said, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm working in the northwest of Ireland, Donegal, clinic in Letterkenny, and Sligo, clinic in Sligo town.
Which is the northwest of Ireland.
Northwest of Ireland, yes.
Yeah.
Again, rightly so, about 11 years ago, I made some changes in my life. I used to be an accountant. People often say to me, "You used to be an accountant, what are you doing?" A clinical hypnotherapist, but I always answer, I suppose, first and foremost, is that I always answer in that I'm very process orientated. So how the mind works, in my opinion, is a process. We have to learn how to act and react in certain situations or types of situations. We don't, generally speaking, through life's experience. So it's the process that really got me. Through, I suppose, my last career, or in my last career, I would have suffered with a lot of stress and anxiety myself.
And isn't it true, that a lot of accountants do suffer from a lot of sort of that sort of emotional stress? Yeah, well, it's very high in that industry.
Very high stress. Very high stress job. People think you're sitting on a chair at a desk. So what's stressful about that? Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's the mental side of it. You know what I mean? The pressure, the stress. It can be overwhelming at times. Yeah. It was for me at times. As I just say, in the end, working 12, 14-hour days, 6-7 days a week. Trying to help keep a company up and running, and basically it just, in the end, for me anyway, it just got too much, and I needed help. So, obviously, don't get me wrong, we all have a past. Do you know what I mean? And my past started a long time before that. Yeah. My anxiety, my stress started before that. I now know that today. Yeah, you know that today. I know that today. Exactly. It started before that. Yeah. And I suppose I looked for help and took help in other areas as well. And
what kind of help did you reach out for at that point, Derek?
Well, I searched basically forms of counselling, group therapy, which did help. Yeah. I'm not knocking it, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it at all. It got me through an awful lot. But it coincidentally, the last company I worked for in the end up went bust. Yes. And it was
basically that's when the time when all the companies were heading into receivership and stuff like that.
It was in the middle of the bust.
Mad time.
Yeah. And it was only when I stepped off the wheel that I realised how fast I was running on it, for want of a better way of putting it. So I needed to slow down, and I needed help in slowing down. And I'd done my own research. I looked at various forms of therapy, and again, I decided on hypnotherapy. So basically, found great benefit from it. Subsequently, I found a course that would teach me how to do hypnotherapy properly, obviously. And I decided to do the course, and it all took off from there.
Wow.
While I was doing the course, the director of the company at the time asked me, did I want to open up a clinic?
Yes.
And I said I did. I did. So I made.
Wow. So what a natural sort of process after you made the decision.
Yeah.
So
I made that decision and basically opened up my first clinic in Sligo approximately 11 years ago. Opened up in Letterkenny 2 years later.
Very good.
Had a clinic in Enniskillen for a wee while, but moved back to Letterkenny again. Yeah. I'm a Donegal man. So
I know.
But no, that's really and truly where it all started. That's where I came. Obviously, I found the help I needed at the time through hypnosis, and I've been practicing it ever since.
Very good. So that's a little bit about your journey, right, and the transition. So I want to talk now a little bit with you because you're such an expert in the field. I want you to really go through all the different processes that the mind, like that sort of conversation that we know really well about, the subconscious, the conscious, and the unconscious, right? So can you explain how the mind works at this point?
Okay. In order for me to explain that, I have to, I suppose, go through the three minds.
Sure.
Okay, get a basic understanding of it. Like, you have one brain, Gabrielle. Okay, but you have three minds.
Yeah.
Okay, you have the conscious mind, which is where we are right now.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here, we're having a conversation at a conscious level.
Yes.
Now, below that is our subconscious mind.
Correct.
Okay, is obviously what I deal with as a hypnotherapist. And below that then again is the unconscious mind. So we'll start at the bottom with the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind, it will take care of things like, we'll say, your heart beating, your breathing, your body temperature, your glands, automatic functions that you must do on a daily basis in order to survive. So I'd say, generally speaking, programmed or pre-programmed at birth or prior birth for your survival. So
yes, it's like that process, Derek, whenever the baby's born.
Yes.
It knows to cry.
Yeah, kicks in.
Yeah, it knows to creep.
It's there.
There's a process that we've inherited.
The unconscious.
From the unconscious that we actually automatically.
Exactly, that's the word.
The automatic
mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So, above that though is what we call the subconscious mind.
Correct.
In fact, I'll talk about that in a second. Because it's what I deal with. But above that then is your conscious mind. So, as I say, we're sitting here, we're having a conversation at a conscious level. So your conscious mind would be analytical. So it will analyse situations for you. Okay, like I walk into this room today, it's my first time in it. Yeah. So I'm analysing my environment.
Yes, exactly.
What
are you analysing for? Safety.
Everything. Well, I'm analysing the environment, but primarily just to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, safe. Yeah.
You meet somebody for the first time, you're analysing them. Or you meet somebody you haven't seen in a while, you're analysing them. Or even maybe somebody you've seen yesterday, but you're still analysing them when you meet them. So that's the conscious mind. Your conscious mind is also logical and rational. Okay, so it looks at things with logic and reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so it rationalises things, uses reason to make judgment. Okay.
Can you give me an example? A sort of.
I will in a second.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I will in a second. I will.
Yeah.
So it looks at things with logic and reason. It contains your short-term memory, contains willpower, power of will, makes the decisions. So you do actually make a conscious decision whether you're going to do something or not do it. Okay. Now, in the vast majority of cases, it's based on programming within your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
But it's still a conscious decision you make. I will explain in a sec. And then it contains the critical factor or judgment. Okay. So we'll say logically, rationally. Okay, you're sitting in front of me. I don't know whether you like spiders or you don't. We'll just use this as an example. So say you have a fear of spiders. Yeah. So we'll say, logically, rationally, you know, a spider, in Ireland anyway, a spider cannot cause you any harm. Is that okay? So
I'm laughing. I just want to tell you a story just very quickly. And I was doing a retreat at the weekend, and we were in this tent. It was full of spiders, but there were tiny little baby spiders, and I was calling them money spiders, right? We have this belief there's money spiders in Ireland, right? And there was one in my hair here, but at least 5 or 6 people kept wanting to bring it up. Oh, there's a spider. Oh, there's a spider, right? And I'm like, no, leave it. Leave us my money spider. But the level of attention it got and the level of response it got, it's just, you know, I love spiders, by the way, Derek.
You love spiders.
I love them.
That's okay. But we'll see, just you have it, just if you imagine for a second that you do have a fear of spiders. So logically, rationally, okay, you know there's no threat to you from a spider in your head. What harm is it going to do? None. It can't do you any harm. But if you've been programmed to perceive threat from that spider, bang, panic, immediate. You have to get out of that situation. Get the spider off you. Get the spider away from you. You know, there's other people around you. They're saying, oh, there's a spider in your hair. They're flicking it out of your hair, whatever it is. You know, trying to get it off you. You know, the spider's not going to cause anybody any harm, but other people, do you know what I mean, may go into that.
Where do you think they've developed that? You know, is that from inherited? Isn't that an inherited conversation? Or most of the time, where do you see that?
It's a learned reaction.
Yeah. From mum or where?
From, it doesn't
dad,
matter.
wherever.
It could be from mum, could be from dad, it could be from a personal experience, it could be from, you know, a lot of times, you know what I mean. Now, if one goes into panic mode, you know, generally speaking, it's from one's own experience or from an authority figure. Yeah. We learn in a number of ways. Yeah. You know, we're getting into the anxiety side of things pretty quickly, but we all develop, we'll say, conscious judgment, usually around the age of 6 or 7. Yeah. Okay, prior to that, a child has no logic, they have no rationale, it's accelerated learning, and you know, so, but basically, if a child has an experience prior to development of conscious judgment, you know, and that, in that experience, the child perceives threat, or goes into panic mode, well, that's it, sticks. So that programming is there. So somebody could be 30 years of age and they might be in a situation where they go into a tent and there's loads of wee spiders. There might be no problem before that, but they could go into a tent where there's loads of wee spiders and all of a sudden somebody says there's a spider on your hair. And all of a sudden, the subconscious mind, which is the protective part of your mind, which, I better explain very shortly because we're getting away from it, kicks in and goes bang. Panic, threat. Okay? But the reason it goes bang is because when that child, or when that person was, we'll say, 3, 4, 5 years of age, they had an experience. Either, and they learnt within that experience that there's threat with a spider. So they either learn from their own experience or from somebody else's. I'll go back to it in a second because I just very quickly, just to explain the subconscious mind. As I say, conscious mind, logical, rational, short-term memory, willpower, makes the decisions, contains judgment.
Can you just go through that again?
Okay. So conscious mind is analytical. Okay. So we analyse situations, looks at things with logic and reason, has the ability to look at things with logic and reason, contains your short-term memory, willpower, power of will, makes the decision. So as I say, you make a conscious decision whether you want to do something or not do it, but generally based on programming within the subconscious, and then contains critical factor or judgment. Then we have the subconscious mind which contains all our feelings or emotions, our beliefs, our habits or associations. You know, we associate certain things with certain situations, whatever it might be. We get into bad habits, whatever. Develop bad habits through repetition over and over and over again.
So I know you've asked me, because you say, you know, you're so much in the conversation, sometimes you don't realise that people might not just have an understanding of it because you're so schooled in it.
Yes. So
if I just ask you at this point, right, can you give an example of some of the explanations you're given?
Yes.
So it's just sort of, I'm like, okay, you know, what does that look like? Okay. In real terms for the people out there that needs or wants to listen to this and realize, oh my God, you know what? That's happening to me, or this is what the process that I'm in.
Okay. So just quickly, subconscious mind, feelings, emotions, habits, beliefs, associations, long-term, I know I'm going a bit fast, long-term memory, and it's your protector.
Yes, very good.
Okay, right. So your subconscious mind's primary purpose is to protect you, and it will do so at all cost. Okay? It's not logical or rational. Your conscious mind is logical or rational, but your subconscious is your protector. And if it has been programmed through life's experience to perceive threat from a particular type of situation, again, bang, because this happens instantly, milliseconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It kicks in and goes bang. Don't put me in this situation, or maybe get me out of this situation. Fight, flight, or freeze.
Freeze, yeah.
Frozen with fear. Okay. So going back to the spiders, we'll say, or any form of anxiety.
Yeah, but spiders are a good one because so many people have this fear of spiders.
Yeah.
And the irrationalness of it all.
It's just, because it's not rational.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, just very quickly, just for your audience, is that it doesn't matter whether it's a spider, a tiger,
doesn't matter,
a snake, a mouse. It doesn't matter whether it's going up and paying for a loaf of bread in a shop.
Yeah.
Do you understand? The process is the same.
Exactly.
Because I go back to me being process oriented.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. So logically, rationally, there's no threat to you from a spider. But through your life's experience, you have been programmed to perceive that threat. So what happens is, literally instantaneously, your subconscious mind
informs your nervous system,
shoots looking for the programming associated with the situation, or type of situation, sorry, it's not specific, type of situation.
Yeah.
It finds that programming and shoots forward the reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, now you talk about your nervous system.
Beautiful.
Yes. You know what I mean? It can cause the physical manifestation.
So then the physical.
Yes.
And sometimes, sometimes the nervous system will kick off first because it's so connected with the subconscious.
Yes, it's going. It's instant.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It doesn't take time.
No, there's no time involved.
No, there's not. It is instant.
And it also takes time for the conscious to catch up what's going on. You're in it.
Yes.
You're in it before.
Because at the time you have bypassed, because once your protector must override your conscious judgment to protect you.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very
so
good.
Your subconscious mind is actually taking over. Your protector's taking over.
Brilliant.
Okay, so there's no rationale in it at all. There's no logical rationale in there at all.
Yeah.
Because you're reacting subconsciously.
But I like that, it's taken over.
Yeah, your protector
the
is
logic.
Yeah, your protector is
that's
totally
a really
overriding conscious judgment.
Good point, Derek, for them to really get.
But the point of the matter is, if, we'll say I'm talking to clients, for example, if a client is sitting in my chair, I never, ever, Gabrielle, would I belittle anybody's experience.
Yeah.
What they've experienced or what they have not experienced. You understand? Okay? Because they can be both the same. But if somebody's sitting in front of me, they have survived.
Yeah.
So there is no reason for the subconscious to be protecting them in this way. Okay? Right.
So there's no rationale.
There's no rationale.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
No rationale behind this protective mechanism.
Yes.
Obviously, but it's a very normal process too. And people, again, like, we go back to it. I think you may have covered it in a couple of your podcasts there as well, is that, the stigma behind, seeking therapy. Do you know what I mean? Or the stigma behind feeling anxious in situations, or feeling stressed or low and down, lack of motivation, all those things. These are all a manifestation of your subconscious mind.
This has been part of being a human being.
Exactly.
This is what really is bizarre about the whole thing. Yeah. We operate a certain way. We're not educated on who we are as human beings.
Yeah.
And we run away from it most of the time because we're so scared of it. Yeah. But we have to function every day like that. And we're not looking and learning and educating and figuring stuff out, which I think it blows my mind, Eric. I don't know about you, that, it's like, I'm not even going to go and start going on about the educational system. That we need to teach our kids how to be human being successfully in the world and how they operate.
Well, our education system doesn't.
We're not even going there, right? You know what I mean?
It doesn't work that way, in fact. But no, we'll. There's a conversation maybe for another day.
Yeah.
But I have, another way to explain it is that, again, yes, 100% agree with what you're saying, but I work from a first floor office.
Yes.
And I do say to clients, if you didn't have that programming, or if you didn't have that protective mechanism within you, you'd be jumping out that window thinking you were Wonder Woman or Superman.
Yes.
Probably think you could fly at the process. So it is that simple though. I you know me, Gabrielle. Just keep it simple.
You keep it simple, Derek.
It's not rocket
That's one
science.
thing you've taught me. Keep it simple.
Do you know what I mean?
When it comes to the mind.
You can complicate it 100 times to Sunday. But you know what I mean? It really is. It's a process.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. Why do I act or react a particular way in a particular type of situation? It's because I have been programmed to.
Yes.
Through either my own life's experience or through information from an authority figure, we'll say, or through repetition, embedded in my brain. So it's like anything else. It's, advertising, another way of embedding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So
stuff in your mind. It's repetition. It's over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting that, I think if we teach people whenever there's a reaction like that, not to look and, go outside themselves to figure out what's going on, because most of the time people have don't know where to look. So they're looking on the outside trying to figure it out, which is where the protector comes in. But actually, if we really train that whole process to go inside and say, okay, what's coming up for me? It's always a word I've trained myself to use. What's coming up here? And what's it showing me? Rather than, because I think at that point, there's a lot of stress. You can break a lot of stress. Yeah. At that moment.
Yeah. Most people don't have a clue what's going on.
No.
They think there's something wrong with them. Again, I always say to clients, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, there's something too right with you.
Yeah.
There's a part of you doing its job too well. It's overprotecting you from a perceived threat, which is not rational. But it's very real. We talk about it. And again, I would often say, somebody afraid of a mouse. A mouse is not going to...
No, that's one of mine.
Okay, but
I would leave this building if a mouse comes in.
Okay, because you've been programmed to perceive a threat from it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, the only thing about it is that if you're in a room and you spot a mouse, this is, again, what people don't appreciate sometimes, is that it doesn't matter that it's a mouse, because it might as well be a tiger.
It might as well be a monster.
Yeah, because your subconscious doesn't rationalise that way.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
It's instant.
It's just going threat.
I remember one day I was living in a flat and we had a balcony and the mouse came in and I ran out the front door, locked nothing, ran the whole way up to where my brother was, and I'm like, help, there's a mouse in the flat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looked as if I was saying there's like the end of the world is coming.
Yeah. I remember a friend of my mother's, God rest her.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I really won't.
Yeah.
Lovely lady.
Yes.
But she was in the house, and all of a sudden, there were the thick curtains. There were real thick curtains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was a mouse running up the wall side of the curtain, and you could see the shape of it just moving up. Well, God, look, I'm not kidding you. A ballet dancer wouldn't have a look in. Do you know what I mean? She was up in the puffy. There's a puffy beside the fireplace, the mantelpiece. And she was on it. And I'm not joking you. She was like that. Her toes were there. She couldn't get up any higher.
Unreal.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
she could not get up any higher.
I'm with this.
Yeah. But I'll never forget it because I was looking, and God love her, she was in a horrible way. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, we got rid of the mouse, but that's another story. But do you know, I'll never forget that experience. Now, it didn't, obviously, I was old enough, it didn't instill a fear of mice in me.
Yes.
Do you understand? But if that had happened when I was 3, 4, 5 years of age, do you know?
It's possible.
It's possible
that could have really influenced you.
That could have stuck.
Yeah.
And moving forward, what happens is that anytime I see a mouse or I experience a mouse, my protector goes, bang. Get me out of here.
Yeah. You're belly dancing.
I'm belly dancing. I'm up there.
Exactly.
Get up as high as you can.
Exactly.
Hanging from the chandeliers.
Yeah.
Do you know, or whatever. Do you know? But that is the process behind the protective mechanism, especially with anxiety and stress, as in we say depression, whatever you want. I like to refer to stress, but it's got very, very common anxiety and stress, and maybe it's not got any more common. Just people are more aware of it. I think
it's both. Derek. I think it's both. I think people are way more educated now on what and also less willing to tolerate it. So there, as you said, I think we'll talk about that in a while. But yes, keep going, because I love this conversation about the whole process of the brain.
The subconscious mind, okay. Well, we say that's feelings, emotions, and that's your protector.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll say somebody then who has developed bad habits. We'll say, for example, I would help clients with quitting smoking. There's an example. Or weight management. But we'll just focus on quitting smoking for a moment. So, okay, thank God it's not as popular as it used to be. I think people is it vaping now more so than the
vaping
smoking,
for the young people, which is,
but it's still the same. It's still the same process.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would somebody logically, rationally know doing something is absolutely insane? It's stupid. Anybody who smokes, logically, rationally, they know they're poisoning themselves.
It's on the packet.
It's on the packet. You don't see it. Do you know what I mean? As a smoker, you don't see that packet. But logically, rationally, they know it's absolute insanity. It's the height of it. Like, it really is the height of insanity. But yet they continue to smoke. Now that has to beg a question. Why? Why, Gabrielle, would somebody logically, rationally know one thing and act and react totally differently? Okay? The answer is simple. It's because the part of your mind is acting, reacting is not rational. It's your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is logical and rational. Your subconscious mind is not. So, if you ingrain through repetition, over and over and over and over again, if you do the same thing over and over and over and over again in the same situation or type of situation, you're ingraining that habit, that association in your subconscious mind. Okay?
Yes.
So, why we'll say people find it difficult to stop or, listen to logical, rational advice is because all of a sudden the subconscious mind is telling you different. Like if you get up every morning and you smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
All right? If you have a meal and you smoke a cigarette. If you're out for a pint, socialising with friends, and you have a cigarette. Or if you, get into the car, you're driving down the road, you have a cigarette. So you're doing that over and over and over and over again on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously what's happening is you're ingraining in your subconscious mind through repetition the habit and the association of smoking in certain situations or types of situations.
Sure.
Okay, now there's one other side to this, but I'll just go through this first. So, say for example, using will and power, conscious mind, power of will, because I'm not saying it's not possible to make change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Through conscious will and power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course it is. It can take a long time and a lot of effort, but it is possible, obviously. But you get up in the morning and you make a decision not to have a cigarette. All of a sudden, if we look at the subconscious, I like to refer to it as the monkey in the shoulder when it comes to this. The monkey in the shoulder goes into panic mode. Because you're not doing something you always do. So it thinks there's something wrong. Okay? So you use will and power to override. Do you know what I mean? You battle using will and power to override the subconscious programming, and you might get away with it.
Yeah, but the problem is that the morning you get up and that's, that sort of willpower's not there, then you have a problem.
Yes. Even with the willpower, yes, that's a problem. But even with the willpower, you might get away with it until lunchtime comes or breakfast. You have your cup of tea or your coffee. And all of a sudden you say, no, I'm not having a cigarette. You're making a conscious decision not to have a cigarette. But your monkey again goes into panic mode because you're not doing something you always do. Okay? Thinks there's something wrong.
Can I just ask you, so do you think there's association with at that point as well as just the repetition?
Oh, you do develop that association with smoking in certain situations. One thing has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Getting up in the morning has nothing to do with having a cigarette.
Yeah.
Having a cup of tea or coffee or a beer or a glass of wine has nothing to do with having a cigarette.
Yes.
But you develop the association with smoking in that situation or type of situation.
Yeah.
So that's the monkey in the shoulders popping up and sort of chattering in the ear.
It's always on the right hand side. That monkey sits up there all day. It's a cheeky monkey.
It's a cheeky monkey, but a very patient monkey too. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That is the problem.
You can also develop association, which is subconscious, but association with feeling and emotion, which again is subconscious. So
it's what I wanted to come to, right?
Because you can. Some people may associate smoking with alleviating, we'll say, stress or anxiety.
Stress or anger.
Okay. So you could be off the cigarettes you might you could go through, we'll say, a year. Doubtful, but you could go through a year, we'll say, and not smoke, because you broke the habits, the associations you develop with cups of tea, coffee, and all that sort of stuff. But all of a sudden, something stressful happens. Okay? And straight away, your subconscious mind just goes bang.
Yeah.
I know what will make you feel secure, because a cigarette will. So logically, rationally, you know it won't, but subconsciously, you've been programmed to perceive it will. Okay? So what do? You grab your cigarette, and before you know it, you're back to square one.
I've also noticed something, Derek, right? When people haven't got the tolerance to feel anger, it's unconscious anger coming up.
Yeah.
I see that's one of the major ones. They go run and choose that cigarette or choose that vape or whatever.
Yeah.
I see that a lot.
Okay, they're not expressing themselves.
It's not getting expressed.
Yeah.
It's unconscious.
Yeah. Well, again, you talk about feeling and emotion. So you either internalize it or you externalize it. But it doesn't matter. Subconsciously, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
You have to express it. It's like, if I say something that you do to hurt you, say I say or do something to hurt you, to cause you injustice or unfairness.
Yeah.
You don't like it, do you?
No, it pisses me off.
Yes. Okay. So generally speaking, what happens though is you must, because I'm stripping from you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm stripping value from you. Okay. So you must get it back. Fair enough. You must take it back because it's yours.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it from you. It's not fair. You want it back. So maybe you either do something or say something to take it back, or in your own head you do something or say something to take it back. So it doesn't matter. Subconsciously, you internalize it, you externalize it. Doesn't matter. You must do it. But if you're not externalizing, you're internalizing, especially when it comes to, we'll say, for example, anxiety or anger. Do you know what I mean? Or stress. It's building and building and building. So it's actually toxifying you.
Yeah.
From the inside out. So it's, that physical manifestation, tense and tight. The cells, every cell in your body is being squeezed.
Yeah, which we could really, we could acknowledge at that point. That's where a lot of diseases.
Oh, disease.
Yeah, the disease.
Disease.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the word disease, if you just break it down, dis-ease.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talk about past. Do you understand? Like, I have my own journey, my own past, even before I became a hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as I say, I would have used or suffered with stress and anxiety, and searched for various ways to help with that stress and anxiety. One of them was to use alcohol.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes.
In my own journey. But I always say, when you start using a substance to ease feeling and emotion, or ease that feeling of dis-ease, it can get very dangerous.
Yeah.
Do you know? It can get messy.
Yeah.
Really messy.
Yes.
Do you know? And I see a lot of that in my clinic as well. People, you know what I mean? And it's people, we talk about drugs and we talk about different things like that, and it's all in its own place, don't get me wrong, but like alcohol, I'm sorry, I'm a bit biased, but you know what I mean, alcohol, call it the great remover for a lot of people.
But can I just say, alcohol, sugar, whatever it is, it's like, I don't think there's any difference in what they're using. They have this thing where drugs is worse than this and that.
No, but
I think sugar is just as bad as any substance.
And possibly more addictive.
Yeah, more addictive, and harder, as harder to give up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But as I'm saying, I'm only picking on alcohol because of my own experience.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
But it is the same. It doesn't matter what you revert to. You've been programmed to perceive. First, generally speaking, first of all, in my limited, do you know what I mean, experience, in my own opinion, is that the substance is irrelevant.
Exactly.
Okay, the substance you use or what you do is irrelevant.
And some
it's
people,
why you do it.
Derek, some people don't know that sex addiction's in there as well.
Oh yeah, but
that's very common. That it's not spoke about in Ireland.
Yeah,
very much,
But what is somebody searching for? This is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's irrelevant what the person is doing.
Yeah.
Oh, but sorry, it's not irrelevant. But
it's not. Yeah, it's not about the substance. It's about the underlying.
It's the underlying.
What's
issue.
underlying?
Why?
Yeah.
Why you must help somebody with why they're doing what they're doing. Why they're looking for ease from the dis-ease.
Yeah. And I also had that theory around people, like violence and men in jails. And if we were really looking at the why, I think we'd have a different, response, first of all, to people. I think we'd have more people not living with so much of the stuff they can't, they don't know how to manage.
But that's it.
Yeah.
They haven't learned how to manage it, how to deal with it. They haven't learned how to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
Emotionally. Because I go back to your subconscious programming. Because it's the inner child that's reacting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the logical, rational adult. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Good. That's all right. You talk about men, for example, and, we all come across cases where men are acting totally and utterly irrationally. And women act totally and utterly irrationally as well. Yeah. I'm not just picking on men.
Yeah.
But we had a wee conversation there about control before we started recording.
Yeah.
But we'll say, for example, a young lady, a young woman who's in a very negative relationship.
Yeah, abusive relationship.
Why? Do you understand?
Exactly.
Would she stay? But also, why would he treat her that way?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I always say, and again, it's in relation to it, I'm not justifying somebody's behaviour here in any shape or form, but why would somebody feel they need to be in control all the time?
Mm-hmm.
But the answer is simple, is because there's a time in their life when they were out of control and didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
It is to most people.
But it isn't.
Yeah, I know.
Do you understand?
I know.
That's it. It's that simple. It's somebody's own insecurities, their fears, their anxieties,
And then, can we just address the woman as well, why she's in that situation?
Well, why is she so little valued that she wouldn't
very good.
remove herself from that situation? Do you understand?
Yeah, I totally do. Yeah.
So, I always say, it covers an awful lot, but the process is still the same. I act and react in a particular way because somewhere along the line, I have been programmed to perceive it in that way.
Yeah.
And
do you believe, and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I know you so much, but, what is that particular timeline where that stuff's all decided?
Prior development of conscious judgment.
Yeah.
Prior 6 or 7.
Yeah.
All children develop conscious judgment.
So is that not till 7 or
0 to 7?
0 to 7?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I'm in the belief some of the behaviours would be in womb.
Possibly, I wouldn't argue, but for me,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In my own experience.
Yeah.
I have had clients who have gone back to womb.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because look, some of the anxious stuff coming up, I work sometimes pre-birth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a step back because, again, my own personal opinion, Gabrielle, is that you can be born with the dial turned up.
Exactly.
But you still must have an experience post-birth. That would be my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do believe you can be born with the dial turned up. It knows your propensity towards stuff. Anxiety or stress or whatever. I do believe that.
Yes.
But you still must have an experience, in my opinion. But just like you have had an experience with no logic and no rationale, you understand? Prior development of conscious judgment.
Yeah.
You can also reframe and reprogram that experience.
Yes.
With logic and rationale, though. And this is important. This is what we do in hypnotherapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, the process. Basically, we're guiding clients back to situations.
The initial
situations. Ideally, the initial sensitizing event, the initial event where it took place.
Yeah.
And reframing and reprogramming the perception of it.
Yeah.
The subconscious perception of it.
Yeah.
So it's when the subconscious goes looking for the programming, it's different, it's altered. So it's...
and I think it's important to say at that point, it's just not the mind's getting, but the response gets transformed.
Yes.
And I think that's the nervous system.
You have to take the sting out of the tail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you don't take the sting out of the tail. To be honest with you, that's vital because, and I always do say it, I know in my own field, I didn't experience it, but I've heard of people who just come back and brought people back to situations.
Yeah.
So made them consciously aware of them.
Yes.
but not reframing them.
No. Actually, that reinforces everything.
No. You must reframe.
That I don't. That's something that
I don't agree with it.
No, I don't agree with.
If you don't, you must reframe what you come up with. I do believe that. I'm not saying it would cause any harm, but at the same time.
Well, I'm at the opinion it will reinforce the trauma.
Well, you are making somebody consciously aware of something that's subconsciously going on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? No, you want it.
But they're also going into the event, and they're feeling the event from there, but they're not actually getting resolved. And I think
it's not resolved because it hasn't been reframed. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So it's no. You must reframe, reprogram.
Yeah.
You know. Again, I always say when if somebody is considering hypnotherapy, go to a therapist who is capable and knows what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, as regards reframing situations, because again, I think it's very, very important. You must reframe, reprogram what's there.
Exactly.
If you don't, what's the point in doing the therapy? You know, you could possibly, I'm not saying you would, but you could possibly cause more harm than good.
There's something I'm aware of day in and day out. I see people, I'm thinking, that's not going to work. Just because they're going back, they're having a look, and then reinforces everything.
No, you must reframe it. No, I agree with you 100%. It needs to be reframed, reprogrammed.
Yes.
Especially when you're dealing with especially when you're dealing with feeling emotions such as fears, phobias, anxieties, depression, or stress, as I prefer. It is important. Outside of that, the habits, the associations. You know, we talked about the quitting smoking. It's just about breaking those habits and associations. You know, just like you created them, you can't break them. You know.
Talk to me about the process through hypnosis with that. You know, when we go into the subconscious mind and we work through that. What is that process?
Okay, well, basically in hypnotherapy, again, I like to keep it simple, so I keep it as simple as I can. Basically, the best way for me to describe hypnosis to somebody would be a deep state of physical and mental relaxation. That's the best way I feel I could describe it, because it's as close as somebody can associate it with. But I always like to say to clients, you as much as maybe some wish they were, they don't head to Jupiter or Mars. And are very much in control at all times throughout the entire process. You know, you look at stage shows and you look at different things.
I know.
Gabrielle, if you don't want to get on stage and have a baby, you're not going to get on stage and have a baby. Do you understand? But as I say, a very deep state of physical and mental relaxation. What we're doing in hypnotherapy is we're quietening down the conscious mind. As I say, where we are right now. So we're quietening down that part of the mind. Now, that is done very gently through relaxation and disassociation. That's it. Okay? That's it.
It's not rocket science.
No, that's it. We then want to bypass the critical factor, though, judgment, because that's the filter. You see, that's the blocking part. Because, again, what people don't appreciate, yes, you do make a conscious decision whether you're going to do something or not. But in the majority, you are making that decision based on your judgment of your subconscious programming.
Yes.
Okay? So what we're doing in hypnotherapy then is we're bypassing critical factor, judgment, the filter. Okay? We do that by creating confusion, a few other wee techniques, obviously. But it simply gives us greater access to the subconscious where all this is going on. When you're dealing with the likes of anxiety and stress, for example, okay, there is obviously a connection between, we'll say, something going on today and the first time it happened.
Yes.
Because if your subconscious is, making connections, there must be a connection there.
It's back there,
Yes. So what we use, quite simply, is how somebody feels within that situation today.
Exactly.
Because, again, it's the same as how they felt.
Well, it's your biggest subconscious program is
feelings and emotions. Yeah. So how they feel in that situation is how they felt the first time it happened. So what we say is we're bridging using feeling and emotion from today
back
to the initial event. Now,
I do a lot of that work with my clients. And it's such a fast way of getting there. So once they get once they start identifying what's going on in the body and how they feel, they quickly get to the point where the first time they felt that the memory is very good at responding.
The recall. And the greater the emotion, the easier it is to recall.
Yes.
Okay, so the higher the emotion, the heightened emotion, the easier it is to recall events where somebody felt that. And and then reframing and reprogramming. But that's basically what we're doing. When it comes to habits and associations, we change there is made through simply suggestion, imagination. Imagination is
amazing tool, isn't it?
Yes. In hypnosis, in hypnosis, we're bypassing critical factor. So the subconscious, all of a sudden, perceives what's being imagined is real. It's actually happening because there's no critical factor. Do you understand? There's no judgment.
Yes.
Like we'll say, you don't mind me referring to you just for a second. I know you're sitting there like, but
Tommy,
Tommy, you have a 3 or 4 year old child, boy or girl?
4.
4. Is there a wee girl in here somewhere?
There is. She's 3. She should be 3 now. Yeah.
Okay. So what's her first name?
Anya.
Anya. So if I put Anya sitting in your knee and I give her a doll in a plastic bottle, and I said, Anya, do me a favour, feed the baby for me. Okay? Anya's feeding the baby. It's not a doll. In her mind, she's feeding the baby. You understand?
Exactly.
You appreciate that?
Especially the children.
Okay, yeah. Because she has no conscious judgment. Okay?
A pure imagination.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
she's
beautiful.
imagining it. It's real to her. Because she's nothing, kids with imaginary friends.
Yeah.
So we all know there's no friend there. But to the child, a friend is very real.
It's real.
Why? Because they're imagining it. Nothing wrong with the child. It's just a good imagination. Now, we hope the friend disappears around 6 or 7 or we might have a wee issue. Do you understand? But other than that, there's nothing wrong with the child. No, but that's... Once we bypass critical factor in hypnosis, all of a sudden what you imagine becomes your reality.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's...
Which is beautiful.
It's beautiful because whatever you imagine is real.
Yeah.
And that's... You can make an awful lot of change within
Exactly.
in that space. So, again, logically, rationally, for example, again, going back to quitting smoking, if you think of somebody who smokes, we'll say their first cigarette, chances are, in the majority of cases, what's happening is they're with, we'll say, a gang of lads or a gang of girls, and they're having a fag, we'll say 13 or 14 years of age, whatever age it is, doesn't matter. But it's that first fag toxifies you. Okay, fair enough. Poisons you. But yet you continue smoking it. Has to, why? The reason being is that all of a sudden, the connection is made. So they feel secure within the group of smokers.
So many levels there.
Do you know? But they're secure there. So all of a sudden the subconscious mind is going, okay, I know what will make you feel secure. Right? That's only an example. But again, but again, we go back to 40 years of age and all of a sudden you haven't smoked for 12 months and all of a sudden somebody close to you, has an issue or something goes wrong. Stress straight away. Oh, I know what will make you feel secure. Gabrielle, a fag will make you feel secure. So what do? You go for it. It just doesn't make sense. But the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't make sense because there's no reason for it. It's not logical. It's not rational.
Yeah. But that's why you go back and do a different association.
Yes.
That's the importance, and that's where the change is made.
Yeah. There must be greater pain to continuing to smoke.
Yes.
Than not.
Than not.
Do you know?
Yeah, very good. Can I say something to you? The everyday, what's changed in the world with the everyday sort of association with, the new generation coming up, right? And what do you see is different these days for them and how they are in the world? And there's so much education, right? What do you see for them that's different of value going forward to where we were in our days? We had to really search for stuff. So what do you see? You must have a lot of people coming into your clinic, right? What's the issue there? That is it different from where their fathers or their, pre-millennials would have come in with?
Well, a lot. I think there is an increase in anxiety out there. I do believe that. I do believe there's an increase in anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, again, we talked about, pre-COVID, post-COVID, all this. Even before that, the levels of anxiety are increasing. I do believe young adults, their ability to socially interact has been greatly damaged, in my opinion.
Interrupted for sure.
As a result of primarily what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
The phone.
Yeah.
And everything is instant now. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to search. You mentioned you don't have to search for something now, Gabrielle. It's there. You just type in a word all of a sudden you're bombarded.
Yeah.
You know, but I think what's going on there too is, and a lot of people don't realise, and to your younger viewers, the one thing I would say as well is this: you need to be very, very careful. And I'm, to be honest with you, I really, really am. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm really, really stressing this is because you have to remember that on your device you're using an app which is programmed.
Yes.
There's algorithms within those apps. So if I'm looking for information in relation to something, okay, say I search information in relation to something, all of a sudden the algorithm within that app is going to what? It's going to send me information, okay? And if I click on certain types of information in relation to that, what is it going to send me? More information like that. So all of a sudden I'm being bombarded with a particular type of information in relation to a type of situation. You know, so all of a sudden I'm believing it, haven't I? You know, I believe what I'm being fed.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes. Do you know? It's really, really interesting because I hadn't thought about it this way. Like in pre phones, right? We didn't have that to deal with.
No.
Yeah.
I had to go out and meet you for a coffee.
Yeah.
And we had to have a chat.
Yes.
Do you understand? You know, maybe I don't drink anymore myself personally, but go to the pub for a pint and have a chat or whatever it is, or a glass. Do you know? Now it's. Do you know what I mean? Give me the phone. Here I am. So all my information, everything I'm being fed, is coming from here, which has been coming from. And again, I go back to it though, just because it is important, and you know, people don't realise it, is that I'm being fed what I'm searching.
Yeah.
I'm not being fed what's real necessarily.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not real, but I'm not being fed.
Yeah.
There's two sides to every coin. I always say it. Do you know? But if I'm only searching one side of the coin, that's all I'm going to be fed. So I have to be very careful, because it can stop the ability to stand outside the box and look. We had to step outside of our box, Gabrielle, and look in and make a rational, conscious judgment based on what we were looking at.
But there's also we had to have a level of tolerance to find it.
Yeah.
Where now that sort of practice of having tolerance has gone. You don't need to.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, instant,
it's just instant.
Instant.
I remember when my daughter, when she's 19 now. She was about 13 or 14 years of age, and I suppose I was a typical Donegal dad, for want of a better way of putting it.
I remember you in them days.
Yeah. And I've probably shared this with you before, but it sticks to me, and I you know, it really does. And I remember thinking, oh my God, just what am I going to do when this lassie grows up? Jesus, God save us and bless us. She went out looking at boys like I was. Do you know what I mean? Like, holy mother, God love her. Like, you know, God love us all. Do you know, I'm only joking, but you get the point.
I got it.
But I remember it was the first summer. My wife was working and I was working at the time, and she was old enough. She didn't need a babysitter. She was old enough to be at home by herself. And I remember going home one day and saying to my daughter, I said, for God's sakes, would you not ring one of your friends and meet them up to town? Because every time I went into the house, she was in her room on the tablet. You know, I said, God's sake, you not go up the road and meet one of your friends for a cup of tea or coffee. But sure, I'm chatting her, she says to me. She's sarky doll, like, she's quick. You know, but anyway, she says,
but they are.
I'm chatting to her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I says, what do you mean you're chatting to her? She says, I says, that's not social interaction. She says to me, it is, Daddy, I can see your face. And I went, oh my God. You know what I mean?
It's a really interesting point, because I spend my days on the phone now, on the computer.
Yeah.
And there is a shift, but Derek.
Oh, serious shift.
Serious shift. And I think some of it is really amazing. And the other part you've got to watch, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Because it does make you lazy.
Because it's only going one way. Yeah. Do you understand? Like, and I'm sounding like an old fella here, I'm sure, to an awful lot of people. Well, that's fine. I don't mind. If I'm an old fella, I don't mind. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you're not connecting with somebody, and I mean truly connecting with somebody, your ability to interact with people. Now, she has no problem, don't get me wrong. She has absolutely no problem interacting with people, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But because she grew out of that stage, do you know what I mean? But it's just at that point in time I remember saying, whoa, stop.
Yeah, there's moments where that could become a problem.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Like, a lot of anxiety that I treat, for example, is all down, and it all comes back, not all, but the majority of it stemming back to the same thing, especially with the younger clientele. My clientele is getting younger and younger and younger. Yeah. You know, which I suppose is a good thing.
It's great, look.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but it is getting younger and younger and younger.
Yeah, but that's not a problem.
No,
I think that's
not
really
a problem, but a lot and the majority of what's going on is the fear of negative judgment.
Yeah.
Or the perceived negative judgment from others.
Huge.
But it's we go back to perceived. Do you know? A simple word, a simple look, and all of a sudden somebody's perceiving they're being judged negatively, because none of us like to be judged negatively.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know? But how you react to it, do you know what I mean, can be different. And if somebody's been programmed to perceive the threat from that, you know, and it's been reinforced, especially looking on the phone.
That's where the social media,
the written
really
word, like I always say, be very careful what you write.
Yeah.
Do you know, because it can be taken up. It's the other person's perception of what you're writing. Yeah. Maybe not what you meant, but you know, it can be picked.
Yes,
picked
totally.
up in that way. But just, I'm going to start the likes of Snapchat and things like that. I don't even know if it's still on the go, but you know what I mean? It is because it has come up. Do you know, somebody wrote this on Snapchat, or somebody done this, or somebody done that, or do you know what I mean? Or well, Instagram I know is still going, you know, but simple little things like that can have an awful effect on some people.
Yeah, and that's the new age stuff that they have to deal with, you know, that we didn't have to.
And the problem that lies within it too, and I'm not denying or I'm not belittling how somebody feels about a situation or type of situation, but I've also come across it, is that all of a sudden this happens. You know, somebody takes the written word up wrong, and all of a sudden, what do? They must take back their value, Gabrielle. So what are they doing?
Yeah,
bang back.
Yeah.
Okay, and all of a sudden, though, what was in the first place wasn't meant the way it was.
Yes.
The reaction is taken the way it was meant. You know, and all of a sudden, as I say, the perceived, the one. And I'm not saying this is happening all the time. I'm not belittling anybody's experience, but sometimes what can happen is the person who's perceiving they're being bullied are ending up the bully.
Yes. I see that a lot going on inside of instant media, and girls seems to have that. And I can say that, you know, Derek, but, you know, girls have that zoned that's pretty, like, tough in there for them. There's like quite a bitchy sort of zone going on as well.
But girls must be bitchy because they're not allowed to be physical.
They're not allowed to be angry, so the bitchiness is where it has to go.
Yeah. But again, that's down to nature too, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's how.
Yeah, totally.
But again, though,
you know, it's bullying.
Yeah. But as I say, one has to be very careful. That's all.
Brilliant. So, look, this has been a fantastic conversation. It's going to be great value, right? And what do you think, if you have one tip for people in all of this, on a daily practice, what would it be, Derek?
To deal with? Just
to deal with the everyday emotion, feeling, stress, anxiety. What would that be? And I know I've put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, for myself personally.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing I would say is that, you know, achieve your goals for positivity and not for fear of negativity.
Very good.
Okay? Somebody else's opinion of something is irrelevant. It's you. I made massive changes in my life, in particular parts of my life. And I didn't, you know, but I done them for myself. Now, other people benefit, but I done it for myself. Don't be afraid to make changes if you feel you want to or need to.
Very good.
I always say, I'm no better than anybody else, Gabrielle, because if I think I am, there's ego.
Yeah.
You understand? But it's sure shite there's nobody better than me, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
So there's that balance,
There's
right?
balance. Okay? I wanted to be an electrician when I was growing up. I didn't become an electrician. Okay? I became an accountant, was my first career, and obviously now I'm a hypnotherapist. But if a man comes into my house to do some wiring for me, does it make him better than me or a better electrician than me?
Is that a question?
Yeah. Does it make him better than me or a better electrician than
Just
me?
a better electrician.
Yeah, he better be, Gabrielle. He's wiring my house. Do you understand me? Like, you know what I mean? But it doesn't.
That was a trick question.
No, but it doesn't make him better than me.
No.
Do you know?
No.
So I spent my whole life, and to be honest with you, I like to think when I put my mind to something, I usually get quite good at it. You know, I achieve it reasonably well.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of times I was doing it for the fear of the negative judgment. So Gabrielle, you know what I mean? You're not going to tell me that I didn't do it. You know, rather than I won. That yes factor.
Yeah.
So achieve your goals.
So survival.
Achieve your goals for that positivity and celebrate the achievement.
Very good.
That's probably the one thing I would say.
Thank you, Derek. So the next thing I have, now the last question
That's all right.
I ask all my guests is, So I call my podcast The Rebellious Therapist.
Yes.
And part of that is, there's times where I needed that part of me. The rebellious part of people is always looked as a negative, but I've always seen it as part that got me through life. It got me made the right decisions, and it got me to a place where I could break out of the mold and really do what I knew best. Times people didn't understand it. A lot of people didn't agree with it, but it served me. So whereabouts in your life can you tell me where you have been a rebel and then that's really served you?
I would have to say what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be 100% honest with you, in what I do today, I never, from when I was knee high to a grasshopper, my programming, I never liked to be told what to do. I never did. People love to tell me what to do. I never liked to be told what to do. I remember even going to school. I remember mother, running out the back door and down the back fields rather than go to school. Sometimes, and I love school, but anyway. But when I started this career, if truth be told, I wouldn't have got maybe a lot of support.
Yeah.
Because people would
I wouldn't understood it.
Yeah, didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Didn't understand what I was doing. And some people still don't.
Yeah.
You've got that hairy-fairy attitude in relation to it. That's fine. I don't mind. That's
fine,
okay.
Yeah.
But making that decision, definitely.
Yes.
For myself. Because that would have been probably the biggest thing I did.
Yes. Very good.
Because today,
that really served you.
I'm not the stressed lunatic running around the place today. Do you understand?
Yeah, very good. And in them days, probably not a lot of men seeked help either.
Oh, no.
So, it's something you probably had to...
I didn't even tell my own wife I was suffering with stress and anxiety.
Not mad.
I had got to the point where I didn't want to close my eyes at night because I knew as soon as I closed my eyes, they were going to open.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Yes.
I used to tell the missus there, I fell asleep in the couch. I was watching TV. I didn't fall asleep in the couch.
Yeah.
I was trying to stay away.
That also begs another whole different conversation.
Look, Gabrielle, me and you could sit and chat here all day.
You could have 10 podcasts, right?
But well, look, it was a pleasure, I must say.
Yeah,
really
I will invite you back because there's so much more to talk about, Derek, right?
Yeah, it's always lovely to meet you.
So I want you to give yourself a shout out on the social media platform. Where do they find you?
Oh, I could be found Facebook.
Yes.
Derek Delaney, Clinical Hypnotherapy, Irish Hypnosis Sligo.
Very good.
Website, ddhypnosis.com.
Very good.
irishhypnosis.ie. That's really it. Facebook and internet.
Yeah. Very good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Derek. You've been listening to the Rebellious Therapist podcast. For more information, you can follow me, the Rebellious Therapist, on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can find further information on my website, therebellioustherapist.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.